Okay, welcome to another Orbiter 2010 video. And in this video, we are back with the Orbiter challenges. There are 4 challenges that come with Orbiter 2010 by default. They're located in the 2010/challenges subfolder. And this time we're going to try to complete challenge number 2. Now, once again, we have all the fuel that we need. This Delta glider is completely maxed out, so fuel is not a concern, but we want to try to do this and use as little fuel as possible. So what we have to do in this challenge is transfer to the moon and dock with the Luna wheel that's in orbit around the moon. So let's go ahead and set that up and see what we can do. Now, I'm not sure how this scenario is configured, so let me bring up a line plane MFD and let's target the moon just to see if we're in plane with the moon or not. And we're not, so part of this challenge is going to be that we're going to do an off-plane transfer. It actually looks like, I'm not sure. So let's bring up TransX on this side. Let's bring up TransX on this side. Let's target the moon. And let's go forward on that side and view the encounter. Let's bring up maneuver mode on this side. And let me see where we are. We're here, moon's here. So at the very least, we're going to be fast forwarding time for several days, because if we're going to minimize fuel usage, we want to leave Earth when the moon is about here, probably, because that'll put the that'll make us arrive here at the line of nodes. But let's not guess. Let's figure out exactly what we have to do. Let's put in prograde to get out to the moon. Well, let's just start with like 3,000 because we know that's about what it's going to be. Now we'll put in the rest. So something like that. And now let's mess with the date. Go around, and around we go. Let's go one more time. Let's see if that gets us over here in the vicinity of the moon. Actually, let me think about this. In terms of days, we actually need to go forward by several days. So let's just do that. So that's like 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Now we're getting about where we need to be. A little bit more, a little bit more, more. You can see this yellow dashed line. I want it to get over here to the line of nodes. So, looks like about here. Might even go around once more. No, I think that'll be good. Okay, so now back to prograde. And that has us out to the moon. Okay, so let's start by just warping time forward. And since we have to go forward so far, we're not going to fine-tune any of our plan at this point. We're just going to warp time until we're out to, several days in the future. So right now it's 56599, and we want to be, 56603. So let's start by warping time forward. Go around the planet. Let's go to 10,000 since we have to go so many days out into the future. (56601), and we're going to 56603. Also watching the time to the maneuver here. Okay, so we're less than a day out. And we're getting, let's go a little more. That's getting reasonably close. So let's go back to real time now and just finalize the maneuver. So let's bring up map on this side. Let's see, are we No, we're not landing at Brighton Beach, so never mind. And view the maneuver. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn the maneuver off and then back on just to reset everything. Now VAR over to prograde. And again, we know that we need about, 30, 50, something like that, a little bit more. And reset the date to make it current. And let's see if we're going to arrive at the moon here, or we're going to go around one more time. Looks like this will be okay, maybe. Let's go to prograde. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, so that's going to be our trip out to the moon, and I'm going to go a little bit on the high side. Inclination, that's showing a retrograde inclination. Let me check something. Let me check map MFD. Let's reference the moon. Let's target Luna, and does it tell us what the... Okay, so Luna is mostly equatorial. And I'm going to guess that it has a prograde orbit. Actually, what I can do is I can bring up orbit MFD. Let's reference the moon. And we can target Luna. And its inclination around the moon is... it's retrograde. Okay, so we want to arrive at the moon in a retrograde orbit. So that's fine, our inclination's already basically retrograde. And the orbital altitude of Luna is about 100 kilometers, a little over. Of course, we won't be able to get that exact of targeting using TransX, but we know that things are going to change, so let's raise our altitude a bit more. Okay, so let's set it out to about 470. That should be fairly sufficient. Okay, let's view over to maneuver, or target rather, and warp time forward to get closer to the time to do the burn. Pretty close to that point. Let's actually bring up the HUD and start getting ourselves rotated toward prograde. And now let's view the maneuver and do an update just to see, because things change when you warp time forward, but it's okay this time. And let's warp time forward to get closer to the time to do the burn. It'll also give the vessel time to rotate. And we'll bring up burn time calculator on this side. And we'll punch in 3097. Actually, I think if we hit enter, if we go to prograde rather and hit enter, it'll give us the exact number, 3096.66, but I guess 3097 is close enough. So let's go with that. And I think we could also, I don't do this very often, but if you put in the time, so let's say 4:55, hit enter, and then when we get to that point, 4:55, you can do arm. But that, for some reason, that does the time to manual start here, but then the time to ignition's off. I'll have to figure out why that is, so I'm going to reset that, because I don't want that to happen. And we'll just put in the DV and start the burn when it's time to start the burn. Okay, warping time forward, getting closer to the time to begin the burn. Careful not to overshoot.
Translation, rotation.
Get the vessel rotated. Actually, it would be... It'll give me trouble if I'm not heads up, because I'll start trying to rotate the vessel in the wrong direction. So I'm going to go ahead and turn over. It's not necessary, obviously. Prograde's prograde, whether you're right side up or upside down, but when it comes time to yaw the vessel, I'll be thinking backwards if it's upside down. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, beginning the burn. Just getting the green X a little better on the line up there. That's good there. And let's warp time forward to get through this 3,000 meter per second burn. Warp time forward a little bit more. Getting pretty close to the point, so let's just go back to real time and finish everything up here. Okay, and according to burn time calculator we're done, but according to TransX we have 6 meters per second more to do. Go with that, and let's view over to maneuver. Turn maneuver mode off, and let's bring up TransX on this side so we can see the encounter. And it shows we're actually hitting the moon.
Translation.
So with a little bit more translation. Again, I want to have the altitude out here somewhat. Okay, so that is that. Now let's fast forward time to get out to the moon, or out that direction. Let's bring up orbit MFD.
Translation. Rotation.
Okay, we're about halfway to the moon, I think. Yeah, we're out of the strong gravitational influence of Earth. We're into the weak gravitational influence, so we're halfway between bodies. Let's think about how to... any kind of mid-course correction that we might want to start thinking about now. Just give me a second to think here. Inclination is... let's bring up TransX. Our inclination is 164, and we want to be closer to 174, closer to a retrograde orbit. So let's see if we can set up a maneuver to help us out with that. And it probably won't be exact, but we'll go ahead and set it for the 174.9, which I believe is what we're seeing. 174.5. So somewhere around there. And the minimum altitude could be a bit lower, but since we're this far out, I don't know how accurate that's going to be, so we'll not worry about it for now. I'll just go ahead and burn the maneuver like this.
Translate rotation.
the vessel rotated. It's probably going to be and since we're this far out, we don't need to worry about the fact that the time to the burn was 100 seconds ago. We can just do it now. That's it for that, basically. So let's view over to maneuver, turn maneuver mode off, and then we'll do a little bit of fine-tuning here now that we can see this in real time.
Translation.
And we'll go with that. Okay, now let's warp time forward, get a little farther out, closer to the moon. Watching our minimum altitudes going down, and that's kind of what we want to have happen. Now it's getting too low though, so we'll have to raise it, probably. Gonna watch the focus PED. Okay, we're close to the moon, so
rotation.
Let's rotate up to prograde. And let's roll over because otherwise I can't think straight. And with our altitude being below the surface, we want to rotate outward 90. And we need to bring up our PEA so that it's above the surface. And the PEA of the space station that we're going for is 125, but our altitude seems to be going down as we get closer to the moon, so we're going to go a little bit higher than 125. Maybe about there. And let's continue warping time forward till we get to periapsis. And actually altitude's increasing now, so we did the wrong thing.
Translation.
So let's actually translate backwards a bit so that our altitude is lower than 125 because it's increasing as we get closer to the moon. So that's a bit of a waste of fuel there. Okay, we'll go with that. We'll see what happens as we get closer. Okay, altitude's going to be pretty good. Now we just get it over to periapsis and do the braking burn. Okay, we're almost there. Let's go
rotation.
Get to the retrograde position. There's a couple of ways we can set up the braking burn. We can use burn time calculator, which actually does a pretty good job around the moon. Another option would be to set up a TransX maneuver. Guess I'll show here. We'll do the TransX maneuver, turn maneuver mode on. Go through the variables, and we want to do the burn not now, but we want to do the burn when we get to periapsis, which is going to be this number. So we'll set 566084739, and then it's going to be a negative prograde. So something like that's going to be our braking burn. Let me just check numbers, hypothetical PED. $1738 plus 125, so we want 1863 as our hypothetical PED. Yeah, so something like that will be our braking burn. Let's view over to target. And let's bring up burn time calculator, have it assist us with this burn at least. So we'll put in a DV of 806.3, and we'll start the burn manually when it's time. Okay, it's almost time to begin the burn. Let's get rotated. And we're at 20 minutes on the video, so hopefully we can finalize things here in the last few minutes. Okay, let's just get ready to burn here in 10 seconds. And burning. Warp time forward carefully. Okay, that should be good. View over to maneuver, off, and let's check orbit MFD, projection ship, distance PEA, APA.
Translation.
I think we need to bring our APA down a bit. Although, actually, we don't want to be too circularized at this point, because we still have to have the space station catch up to us, or we have to go around a bunch of times and catch up to it. And it's behind us, so we would actually like it to catch up to us, so we need our orbital period to be longer than its. And our orbital period is this number, so it will catch up to us given enough time. So before we worry about setting up a plan to rendezvous, let's just let that happen. Let's have the space station catch up to us for a while. And yeah, what I should have done, being that we're this far apart, I should have left my apoapsis a little higher. But it'll catch up to us eventually. Guess we can probably go 10,000 without... Oh my gosh. When will I learn not to use 10,000? Look at that, it's so frustrating. Just letting it get in a little closer. The difference in our orbital period is so slight that it just takes a bunch of orbits for it to catch up. But we're getting close enough now that I think I can start setting up a plan. Okay, close enough. Now, view to set up on this side. We want ships, and we want Luna-OB1. View to maneuver mode on. And our orbit's a bit lopsided. On one side, we're below it. On the other side, we're above it, but basically we're above it. So most likely we're going to need bit of negative prograde. Won't be much, but that's too much. But we'll start with something like that. Now we'll start setting the date. It's a reset, and then so maybe over here, one more time, maybe two more times. I think over here we'll have it. So 21 kilometers there, 20 kilometers. All right, let's adjust prograde at that point. So by adding in some prograde, but that's going to raise our encounter velocity. Let's see if we bring our prograde down a little bit and then just adjust time. Maybe back one orbit. My neighbor's dog barking. I don't know if that's coming through on the mic. Well, looks like about here's the best time, so let's just go ahead and use the fuel that we need and just hope our encounter velocity doesn't go really high. Yikes. You have to bear with me while I fine-tune this. It's just a lot of precision here. 14 kilometers, 1312. I think we'll get it. Okay, so somewhere over here and a little bit more. Let me check one thing. Align plane, reference, the moon, target, Luna. Oh my gosh, are we really that far out of plane? Didn't realize that was going to be the case. That would be why our encounter velocity is so high. So let's do this. I thought we were more in plane than that. Let's go to the maneuver and turn maneuver mode off. And let's fix this plane alignment. Oh my gosh, that was awful. I should have fixed this as part of the mid-course correction. It would have been a lot cheaper. That's annoying. So let's come around to the descending node. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that. Not when you set up, when you arrive at the target body, you have to be not only at the same inclination, but the latitude of the ascending node is also a factor, and I just totally forgot about that. Okay, let's go orbit plus, because we're coming up to the descending node. "15-second burn," or 16-second burn rather. It's rather expensive. So one of these days I'll have to do this one over and remember to correct the plane alignment as part of the mid-course correction. So when we get down to 8 seconds, we'll do the burn. Go ahead and use the full power of the main engines because the standard Delta glider holds pretty well. Okay, plane alignment is basically good enough. Alright, now we can set up maneuver mode. Actually, we're at 30 minutes on this video, so this is a good stopping point. Let me go ahead and stop here. If you like this part of the video, go ahead and hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Check out my Facebook page. There's a link in the description below. And if you've completed this challenge, go ahead and post your results down below. Let us know what your best results were. And I'll see you in the next part.